Um, so I'm Kathy Darkowski, the chair, and greetings to everybody. We're going to have Laurie-Anne Sayles come. If you happen to see her, can you guys let me know because I
She
can't.
is, she's here. She's switching devices.
She's here
Oh,
right
okay.
now.
Oh,
Yeah,
why don't we
Her
go ahead and
photo's not here.
she's switching devices to something that she can speak from.
so why don't we go ahead and have her speak at the beginning and then hold our meeting because her time, I'm sure, is valuable.
Yeah, she'll probably need minutes just to switch over. So if you want to do a couple of things first.
Okay, why don't we have approval of the minutes? Does anybody want to do um, a-
Linda made the motion. I'm seconding it.
okay, so then with that, it's approved. How about Larry? Do you want to do a quick treasurer's report?
Sure. We ended January with 29.77 in the bank, and we spent some money, we got some money, and end of February is 29.17. Right now we have 29.69. We had a happy hour this past Sunday, and we came up with $100 in the black, which is a shocker. So we're making a little bit of money on these. We also have the fun run, and we're starting to see some action on that. And it's not until October, but we've um, um, let's see, where's my notes? We've taken in donations of 370, sponsorships of $100, registrations of $70 for a total of $540. And so far we've paid 250 and we have another 308 and 85 going out for the parks application fee and liability insurance. So we're doing okay this far out. Um, so I think that's going to be another success. So between our happy hour profits and the fun run profits, we ought to be able to do some stuff to help Democrats going forward.
So Larry, does your 29 about 2970, does that include the fun run?
That includes a net of 415. What I got here? 450. Well, some of the money for the fun run is still in Arsenal. They pay us, make a distribution every Tuesday. And I was talking to Lisa, we're gonna have to reconcile that to make sure we're on top of it. But so we're
So basically, yes, it does
yes,
include the.
basically yes. We're getting some money in, we have some money going out. We're probably about even right now, but we haven't really even sold many sponsorships or registrations, and that's going to come later on as we get closer to the event.
So Larry, you don't have to answer this right now today, maybe in a future meeting. What is our budget? I mean, when you produce a budget, what's the revenue and
Budget for the
expenses?
caucus or budget for the fun run?
No, the caucus, because the fund runs part of the caucus.
Right. We haven't put together a formal budget for the caucus. Uh,
So we don't really approve a budget during the beginning of the year for the caucus.
we have never done so.
Yeah.
So we
And
basically try to make it that we spend as much as we get. So kind of a zero net.
But if we start, some of these projects like the fun run, maybe we'd be able to actually put together a budget. We've been pretty frugal, is that a good term so far? And Lisa's been pushing us to kind of generate a little bit more cash so that we can actually do a few more things. And then, yeah, that's something that we could actually
Well,
really
like,
do. So far, we haven't.
like for instance, how many events do we expect to have a table and flags and out on a yearly basis, and what's the typical cost per event? Because that's
Well,
obviously the most important thing we do, I guess.
well,
And
so far it's been pretty nominal. We do the Poolsville Day, the Potomac Day, and the County Fair, and our expenditures have been, you know, couple $100 or so for each one, and we don't get any money in on it. Our basic income has been our exorbitant dues of $20 a head.
yeah.
And we really haven't needed to um, get more sophisticated. Is that a good term than that? But again, I give all the credit to Lisa. She's saying, hey, we got to start doing more. We start getting a little bit more money in. We usually get a booklet for the galas. That's another couple $100, and we usually get the delegation to kick in most of the money for that. So we really haven't spent a lot, and we really haven't made a lot, but we've been running, a couple thousand, $2,500 pretty steadily for a long time. And yeah, I guess the question you're asking, even though you didn't phrase it like that, this is how I'm hearing it, is do we need to step up our game and try to really put together a budget and really try to plan on spending some money on some things promoting Democrats that we really haven't done in the past?
That's what I was getting at. And, with all of the fundraising we're talking about with the 5K, we need to be able to tell people, at least ourselves, how we're going to use that money. Because
Hmm.
the idea is to use it for more events and to get more voters engaged.
Now, I will say on the flip side of that is we have no idea how successful this is going to be. We're hoping it's going to be successful, and it's hard to plan on how we're spending money that we don't know we're going to be getting. Um, um, but as we get a little more experience meaning able to predict a little bit more accurately where we're going to be, um, and gives us, if we have a little bit more cash, we can say, okay, we got another couple $1,000. How can we best use that money? We haven't done that yet. And that's kind of the transition of where we hope to get.
So can I just stop this for a minute? And because we got our council member here and I know her time is valuable. So if we can switch over to Councilmember Laurie-Anne Sayles, if she can talk for a few minutes about what's going on. Well, first of all, a little bit about what the county can do. We got a lot of people that need a lot of help. So if you can give us an overview of that. So, Laurie-Anne?
Yes, I am joining in just a quick second. So waiting for my computer to restart. So I was letting Larry
Speak.
and carry on.
Yeah,
Okay. It looks like launch meeting. I should be joining. All right. It looks like it's connecting me now, finally. So I can actually be on camera. Okay, so let me disconnect.
So while you're working on that, we have a fun run, 5K fun run that's scheduled for October 11th, which I certainly hope you'll promote and come. And it's going to be an exciting event where Larry is musing about all the money we're going to get. And other people are musing about whether or not we'll get enough. But it should be a fun community building event. So we're really excited about that. I think we see you.
All right. Okay, that's half the battle now.
Laurie-Anne, we may have lost you.
Uh-oh, did I lose everyone?
Oh, we can hear you, we can't see you.
So in the meantime, the people on this call are all District 15 precinct officials or residents from District 15. So as you probably know, District 15 goes from Potomac to Poolsville. So we have people from Clarksburg, Martin Luther King, kind of like all over. And also while you're, actually, I'll give you a minute. Why don't you, Andrew, while we're waiting for Laurie-Anne, maybe you can real quick talk about what's going on at the Central Committee.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kathy, for the chance to talk about what we're doing on the Central Committee. At our last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, we appointed a new member of the District 16, a new District 16 member of the Central Committee, not a member of the delegation. Hopefully we are done with appointments to the delegation. But we appointed Bama Arthrea, who is joining us on the Central Committee. The other thing that we're working on right now is we have 2 weekends of action, this weekend and then the following weekend. And we are this upcoming weekend supporting efforts for a protest outside of NIH. That's this Saturday at 11 a.m. at the National Institutes of Health. That is being led by a couple of different organizations, but we're supporting that as a party. And it is really calling attention both to the efforts that that Elon Musk and the administration are doing in terms of laying off a lot of folks, but also the harm that it's going to have in terms of public health if they carry on with their policy agenda for our public health infrastructure in the United States. So for anyone who's interested, that's going to be this Saturday at NIH. There will be more information about stuff that we're doing in the following weekend and weeks to come. We're trying to have a more active role and be present in terms of supporting the great work that's already going on in the community, and also just sort of organizing stuff on our own. I think we all saw, well, I don't know if everyone saw the State of the Union last night, but we all have seen the harm that this administration has brought to our community. And we are doing everything we can to fight back, and I hope you'll be there, and I hope we can do more stuff to support great work that you all are doing as well. And I do
Okay,
see
I
Laurie-Anne now, so I think
think
we're good.
everyone can hear me. I can hear everyone. I'm moving. Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Thank you, Kathy, for inviting me. Thank you to all the D15 Democrats who are on the call this evening. As Andrew mentioned, I did not tune in. I just caught the highlights for last evening's, I don't even know what to call this, this boastful speech that this felon-in-chief gave last evening. It's really sad to see our democracy crumbling right before our eyes. And so For those who don't know me, on a brighter note, I am here this evening to tell you a bit about what's happening in our incredible county and how your 11 council members are unified and working around the clock to ensure that we have resources, we are being responsive and proactive to ensure Montgomery County residents feel protected, and continuously reminding our residents that diversity, equity, and inclusion are the values that we hold dear to the work and that are so important to Montgomery County being a place where everyone can live in unity, respectfully worship, and enjoy our community and ultimately thrive. And so I'm happy to be here with you. Tomorrow evening, we will be holding our second meeting with our federal partners. Last week, we kicked off a series with Senator Van Hollen and one of the administrators from the federal level to talk about unemployment benefits, how to file, and we will be holding these weekly meetings online. We had almost 600 participants at last week's meeting, and I will put this information in the chat before I leave, along with other resources for your neighbors, if you know anyone who's looking for an employment, if you are interested in any training opportunities, there's an initiative that the governor is championing to accelerate how quickly we recruit and onboard federal workers to state level opportunities. MCPS is hosting events to quickly onboard displaced workers, and WorkSource Montgomery will be holding a quarterly resource fair. Their next one is on March 26th, and our libraries are all stepping up. They will be having a resume writing workshop on March 14th. And then the state is holding a virtual job fair on March 7th. So for those who may not know who I am one of your 4 council members at large. I was first elected in November of 2022. We have 7 council committees. Each council member serves on 2. I serve on the Economic Development Committee and the Health and Human Services Committee, and I'm the council's lead for eliminating disparities, not just in public health, but also in our economy. I am wanted to also share the SMART agenda. If you know any students in grades 7 through 12, we have a SMART Youth Advisory Council. It's the council's first youth advisory council. You know, Montgomery County is home to some of the smartest residents in the country, and that is the same for our young people. And now more than ever before, while they are struggling to communicate the flurry of emotions and stress and anxiety that they are experiencing in response to what's happening around them, this is an opportunity for them to share their ideas. At the end of the 6 to 8 week program where we go through the budget, they learn about local government. They are able to pitch a panel of judges who will evaluate their policy proposals, so similar to Shark Tank. And they do all of this through a racial equity and social justice lens, because Montgomery County passed this legislation back in 2021 following the murder of George Floyd. And we want all of our legislation and ideas to be reflected through that lens. And so my SMART agenda was my policy acronym, my platform that I championed across the county. I took this message to all the doors that I knocked on. And it was post-pandemic that I came up with this platform of ideas, strengthening our commitment to 21st century education from cradle to career and beyond, not just stopping with our students who are entering college, but also thinking about our retired elders in the community. We know that they are lifelong learners, and we want to ensure that they have enriching opportunities to contribute their knowledge and wisdom to the community. So that's number one. Making a living in our county more affordable is number two. We have an affordable housing crisis. We know that Montgomery County is going to be responsible for the lion's share of houses that are needed. You should also have on your radar, there's legislation at the state level that the governor is championing, where he is tying jobs to houses. And with Montgomery County being the economic engine of Maryland and having the largest quantity of jobs, we are going to be required to have the largest housing stock produced. And they're basically taking away a lot of the barriers and excuses to building housing to ensure that developers are getting a clear runway to build housing. There's little room for denying a housing application. The bill is still moving through the General Assembly, and so we will find out soon if this legislation becomes law, and then we'll have to work through the regulations. So please stay tuned for that. The next one is advancing local food production in our ag reserve during the pandemic. I know I've seen a lot of you either stocking a pantry, helping out at a food distribution site. We saw food insecurity in a county that is full of riches, but also full of those who don't have the means, people who were unemployed. And now it's almost like we're entering, hopefully not, the second wave of a pandemic. We have people in charge of vaccinations and our healthcare research institutions who are we're probably going to have to question a lot of their decisions. Who's regulating our food, importing our food, processing our food. And we have a third of our county's land mass is made up of this incredible resource, the agricultural reserve. We also championed, following the pandemic, the new initiative to end childhood hunger. And it's run by Heather Bruskin, who had really strong relationships with our farmers and has maintained that and actually increased the investments of grants to ensure that the food we are providing at our pantries are locally sourced. And we're hoping that we can increase that dependence on our local ag sector to even start sourcing our schools and county procurement contracts. So definitely need to encourage more farming of local food. We also know that as the economic engine, that comes with a lot of responsibility. Our schools are demanding more of us. The superintendent, Dr. Taylor, put forth a budget that is asking for $300 million over maintenance of effort. When I first joined the council, we had a budget request from MCPS of $150 million over maintenance of effort. And the state's trying to pass teacher pensions and so many fees from the state back to the counties. So while we are trying to put forth a balanced budget once the county executive sends it our way on March 14th, we are facing budget constraints at the state level and right here at home. we saw the MCPS hired an incredible amount of social workers to deal with the mental health challenges impacting our students. Students can't learn if they are stressed out and depressed and facing any number of issues. And what's happening with our government is not helping the situation either. So we're also looking for a new economic development director. You know, the county's Economic Development Corporation is its own entity. We currently have Mr. Bill Tompkins in that position, but his contract is up this summer. And so we are already exploring the attributes and initiatives, priorities, goals that we want the next director to champion. So if you have any ideas about what we need to see, what we want in the next president of the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, please send those ideas my way. I'll be meeting with the board of directors along with my colleagues to ensure that we recruit and confirm an appropriate replacement. And then the last item is tackling climate change. I don't know if anyone on the call was a part of the county's climate action plan that the county executive launched during his second term. We are still working our way through that climate action plan. Most recently, we passed the building energy performance standards to ensure that not only our local residents, but also our businesses and any new buildings that are built are also adhering to our strict climate energy standards. And I also wanted to talk to you about some of the legislation that we have been successful in passing here related to housing. You know, we passed the rent stabilization bill early on, but if you live in a municipality, you are still seeing rent increases of 20 to 30%. We heard from someone in the city of Rockville, the city of Gaithersburg. And so, you know, we're hoping that the cities will hopefully give it another look. We know that a lot of our federal workers who are going to be impacted by these decisions live in our municipalities. So that's certainly going to be something to have on their radar. And as I mentioned, you've probably heard that the state has, you know, the $3 billion deficit. A lot of our fees, whether it's renewing your car registration, we're going to see increases everywhere to cover this $3 billion shortfall. As I mentioned, teacher pensions. So we're still looking at what the governor's going to do and how the legislature is going to work through making cuts to the budget. They are already exploring cuts to the blueprint for education, and that is ultimately going to impact our students, especially those who were impacted during the pandemic and are still grappling with learning loss and catching up. You should be familiar with the open ZTA that I passed early on. That was the opening pathways to economic necessity. We are accelerating how quickly we build affordable housing. Any projects that promise to build at least 30% of their units at workforce levels of affordability will not have to wait 2 years for their projects to be approved, but 90 days. We will be breaking ground on our first project in May, and we have heard from developers that they are saving upwards of $6 million in project costs that will be passed on to our residents. And so those are just a few things. Now I wanted to get to the discussion about our federal government and just looking at the ways that we can support our residents. So hopefully you will tune in tomorrow to the next United in Service webinar. All of these meetings will be available on YouTube. We will be recording every single one, and we are also sharing all of the dates as well. If there are any topics that you want us to cover, please feel free to share that information ahead of time, but there is a moderation feature. So our MC, Jordan, will be taking questions, and any questions not answered during these service webinars will be answered separately, and we have a running list of FAQs on a page that was recently created. The Government Operations Committee, another one of our committees, they are also actively reviewing our internal systems, looking at how we are going to approach impact taxes. And so please be on the lookout for those recommendations. I'm hoping that they will improve our financial footing moving forward. You may have also heard about some other pieces of legislation that have been introduced. As I mentioned, housing is a huge issue, and so we've had some bills related to payments in lieu of taxes to help developers build housing quicker, to not have to pay those fees up front. Investing more money into our housing initiative fund to help with down payment assistance programs. We also have the Workforce Opportunity Fund, where we are trying to focus on building duplexes, triplexes, townhouses, and apartment buildings along our corridors. So workers have better access to public transportation. So think of boulevards, streets, town centers, etc. Between 2023 and 2024, the average sale prices of our homes has increased by almost 7%, while wages have only risen by 1.5%. And with our workforce, our federal workforce in flux, we know that we are going to have to prepare for any number of challenges that our federal workforce may face. And as I mentioned, Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments estimates that Montgomery County needs to add 41,000 housing units over the next 10 years. When we met with planning, I believe we only contributed under 1,000 homes last year. So that doesn't include homes that are turning over naturally in the market, but new builds. So we have a long way to go. So please be on the lookout for the public hearings if you want to submit testimony. Let's see.
Yeah, I think we have a few
see
questions
some-
in the chat.
Yes, I'm looking at the chat now. Yes. Okay, talk a little bit about public transit improvement initiatives that the council is doing. So we are actually looking at new bus routes. Of course, Purple Line is still under construction. We're hoping within the next 2 years, we should be finally done with this incredibly expensive project. Our businesses are suffering, the communities along the Purple Line are suffering, and so that should be coming along very soon. And as for the buses, were there any specific questions about the public transit, Charlie?
Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks so much. I was just asking, I'm more familiar with some of the stuff going on the state level about, new investments and funding sources and a lot of those conversations happening in the budget. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit on the county level, a little bit more about what they're responsible for and where those funding conversations are going. What routes you're looking to expand, what areas, or anything about transit-oriented development.
Oh, yes. So the legislation that I just mentioned, the More Housing Now Act, is focused on transit oriented development. So we're prioritizing housing along some of the busiest corridors because, we know that in order to truly cut down and lower greenhouse gas emissions, we have to get people out of their cars and into, public transportation and other forms of transportation. And so that's why we're concentrating workforce development, housing. And if you check out the More Housing Now Act. I'm going to put a link in the chat. There's 5 initiatives for this bill. As I mentioned, so there's the chat. So as I mentioned, more types of housing. So the duplexes, triplexes, townhouses, and apartment buildings, and they're going to be along some of the busiest corridors. Think Georgia Avenue, Veers Mill. We're also converting office space into housing. That's some of the most expensive housing to convert, but we have so many vacant office buildings. But our folks are going to need assistance in transitioning those buildings. And we don't know what resources are going to be available at the federal level, which would normally assist with those transitions. We're also trying to do the pilot. That's another part of this bill. So that is the payment in lieu of taxes effort to transition the vacant commercial buildings to residential use. And there's also the increased investments in the Housing Initiative Fund. We don't only want to ensure that renters have access to affordable housing, but we know that housing builds wealth. And so we want to ensure that there's more pathways to home ownership. So that's a 5-part bill. With regards to the transportation initiatives, we just passed our Safe Streets legislation. So we are making improvements to intersections. We are being more responsive. If there has been an accident in an intersection, we will make the adjustments to the intersections to put more infrastructure investments there to assist with improving that particular intersection. What else? With the new routes that are being considered, I will follow up with Kathy and have her share that information with you about the new routes that are being considered. We also passed legislation about traffic signals that should be coming forth very soon. So I will put that bill in here as well. We also launched the first zero emissions bus depot. I think it's the first in the nation. That was in Durwood. And so It's our initiative to get to zero emission buses. It supports over 200 buses that will help us reduce, our carbon dioxide emissions by, it looks like 4,000 metric tons per year. We're also planting more trees in the area. We also passed the plastic the plastic bag ban as well. And as I mentioned, our building energy performance standards. So I'll get the information about the bus routes. Seniors can ride the bus for free, or young people can ride the bus for free as well. And so if there's any other questions about transportation, I'll make sure I follow up with you about that. Oh, very good, Charlie. You're welcome. Will the
And
discussion with federal managers include their plans for
this is
drop?
from Armin, I think.
Rochelle.
Oh, Rochelle,
Maybe
okay.
someone can- Oh, Rochelle, I have been
It's really
follow-
Gary.
It's me, but it's,
uh,
we're a team.
Gary, of course, Gary and Rochelle. So with regards to the federal buildings, it looks like the last I heard was that Trump is looking at over 400 buildings that they are
Right.
trying to get rid of. I don't know what plans he has. I don't know how he's listing them. He's a developer, he's a businessman, so I have no doubt that he has some lucrative opportunities and ideas about that. And I'm sure in his convoluted way of updating and briefing us, we will find out probably after they are all acquired by one of his shell companies or kids. I don't put anything past this administration. I don't know what I'm going to wake up to. And, I just feel so fortunate to be here in Montgomery County, because at least we have some sane people who are thoughtful and who actually care about our people, care about their community. So yes, we will definitely be keeping an eye on that.
And
White
Armin,
Pit Mall.
I think
Yeah.
Arminette had a question.
Arnett, did I miss one? Oh, I'm sorry, Armin. I also, you touched on career transition. College or grad students to work for the county or state government who may not necessarily. Yes, and so as I mentioned, I will put these links in the chat because these are timely, and depending on how they translate in the chat, I'm gonna send these to Kathy. Oh, it looks pretty good. All right, so here's a list of resources. I'm meeting with President Williams and Dr. Kademian between this week and next week to learn more about the challenges that they are seeing in their college and career centers, and also talking about any training opportunities that they're going to have. We were initially meeting to discuss the DEI ramifications on funding and whether or not they would be impacted by it. But now it's transitioned to also job opportunities and how they are going to communicate opportunities post-graduation to their students. We're also looking not just at the state, because I know the governor had a press conference last week about how he's going to make hiring federal displaced workers a lot faster. We know that there are hundreds of vacancies in MCPS. And so a lot of our workers are being recruited by MCPS, and they are accelerating how quickly that's going to happen as well. I'm also meeting with our
Scientists.
Yes, we need some good scientists to teach science classes and STEM. Yes, even with county government, we are also looking internally. I just met with the our public health officer with Health and Human Services, and they have over 150 positions that are paid for in the budget that are vacant. And so we have to get a better understanding of, what the qualifications are, if we can shorten the hiring process and things of that nature. So we're exploring all sorts of opportunities. And then, of course, our Office of Workforce Development is also holding trainings and resume building workshops. But, being a federal worker, and I used to work for, the FDA and NIH, it's hard to transition from the government sector, the federal sector, into the private sector. Those resumes are pages long, and it's, even some of the jobs that we are recruiting for at county government don't translate to the skill set. So it's going to be a tough shift for any displaced workers, and we are doing everything we can to cushion the impact. So definitely will keep you posted, and please tune into tomorrow's meeting as well. And then I saw Gary. Let me go back to
Oh,
Gary
and
and
Trip
Michelle.
had a question related to White Flint Mall.
Yes. White Flint Mall. We are still uncertain about what's happening with White Flint Mall. The new big thing is Viva White Oak, because after, I think, over 20 years, the property's been sitting vacant. And finally, all of the development is happening there. Hundreds of homes are coming, different types of homes, biotech investments there. So we're seeing the east part of the county get a little attention. But the owners at White Flint, they own the property. Their portfolio is immense. They are in no rush to redevelop that property. They are still, I don't even think they've paid Lord and Taylor for the issues that they encountered with the ending of the lease. And so I'll get more information. It's been a while since we've met with Lerner to discuss what their timeline for doing anything. Before I got on the council, I met with the president, and they said there's no rush. We don't know what the market needs. We don't know what it demands. I know it's going to be mixed use. So yeah, let's certainly keep an eye on that. There is a new executive director, though. The executive director used to be with the Philharmonic Society, and they do have monthly meetings. I will get her information to Kathy White Flint, because we just met recently. So I will get that over to you, Kathy. Some
So
updates.
great.
Okay. Any
So
other
I-
questions in here?
I think we're just about done. So thank
Okay.
you. Thank you very
Of
much for coming.
course. Of
And
course. Of
yes,
course.
I
Always
really,
a pleasure to be here.
yes, let's give a round of applause to every. Thank you.
Thank you. And did I hear that there's going to be a protest on Saturday at NIH? Does
Yes.
anyone-
Yes, and that's going to
Oh.
be at Grosvenor. I mean, not at Grosvenor, at the, it's at the Metro Center, at the, what?
Medical center
Medical
station.
Medical
Center, yeah,
center, yes,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay,
And
so
it's 11
hopefully
o'clock.
yes,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, so hopefully I'll see a few of you there.
Okay. So,
Alright, yeah.
and also I had mentioned before, just be aware, I sent you information on our, fun run, 5K fun run. So hopefully you can, look into that and help us with that. That would be, we'd love to have you run.
Is there a fast-paced walk?
It's
option?
a walk, crawl, whatever you, whatever your, desire is, but it's 5K. In fact, why don't we
Oh,
go ahead?
good. I like a 5K. Yes.
Yeah,
tell
at
me
least,
more.
Lisa, why don't you go ahead and talk about it for a few minutes real quick?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kathy, and thank you, Councilmember Sayles, for spending some time with us and updating us on what's going on countywide. So, so we're planning a 5K fun run that's being organized by the District 15 Caucus. It's in October, and we plan to use the funds so that we can do more things, as was discussed earlier. We can do more community events, have tables at, carnivals and other community gatherings, so we can expand our outreach. And what we found from the last campaign season, we branched out a little bit more beyond doing just Potomac Day and Poolsville Day. We also did a few more events. We did Juneteenth, which is around Cabin John Mall. We did Rocktoberfest up in Poolsville. And most recently, we did the Women's Legislative Briefing, which is this past January. And what we find is that we, just meet more people who are interested in what our local party is doing. So if we want to do more of those kinds of events, we really do need to have more funds to be able to pay for it, because while some sponsorship tables cost as little as $25, there are others like in Germantown and I think around like Falls Grove and Gaithersburg. They'll have carnivals and events where a table can cost upwards of like $350. So that gets, quite pricey given our current treasury. So if we've got more money, we could just, do more outreach and do more things and have more swag that we can share with people who come to our table. And, of course, expand our outreach. So like Kathy said, the event is October 11th. It'll start at 9 a.m. And it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, it's going to be right at in Durwood at the Agricultural History Farm Park. And we'll run around the park for a 5K. For those of you who don't know, is about 3.1 miles, and it's a walk/run. It'll be fun. We're going to have a pep rally before, so we hope to see you there, Councilmember Sayles, and you can help to get people charged and like ready to get out there and run. That'll be a lot of fun. So we hope to have our electeds out there for the pep rally. And we'll give away some prizes well, it'll be a medal for first, second, and third place, men, women, and for at the youth level, girls and boys. So the run sign up is up. It's really nice. And Kathy's been circulating it with her weekly emails. If you have any questions about the event, there's a questions button on the run sign up. So if you have a question, you can reach out through the run sign up, and we'll get back to you.
So,
we've got a great marketing team that we've lined up that includes about 7 of us, and some are on the call now. So if you want to join sort of the organizational arm, you can reach out to me and you can be a part. As we get closer, we're going to need more volunteers to help with sort of operations the day of. But the most immediate need now is just to get, sponsors and people who want to donate. And as we get sponsors, we can send it out more. We'll put it on Mobilize and some of the other big like social media sites. But for now, we're just hoping to sort of ramp up our sponsorship and donations so that we look like, we've got more substantial sponsorship support before we do sort of a bigger marketing rollout. So that's it.
So yeah, the sponsors can be candidates and they also can be small businesses. So if you happen to, have a small business near you that you visit, you might want to get them to help, promote this and promote themselves. And yeah, and if you can let Lisa or me know if you can be on, help us with promoting it. This is really our next step.
Yeah.
Hey, Kathy, before we leave, would you promote our next happy hour?
Yeah.
So that's
the last one.
So we have our happy hour on the first Sunday of every month from 3 to 5, and it's at King Street Oyster. And last time we had quite a few, I think like 30 people, quite a few.
I thought it was a little over 30, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, their food is great. And it's just nice to be around some Dems.
Yeah. And it's
So-
better than it's more fun than sitting in front of your TV screaming at the TV.
Right.
Take a break from your TV and join us at our happy hour.
It's in Park Potomac, which is fairly central and easy to get to, number one. Number two, what I found was that there's a lot of people that are not in District 15 that are coming
Which is
because
great.
it's a way to get together with Dems, and so
And Andrew
I'd like to
Friedman was
build
there
it
last
up and really make it a focal point of action going forward.
Yeah. And we do get some elected. Andrew Friedson was there at the one this past Sunday.
Right. So we had already mentioned about the rally on the 8th, but there's also going to be another one on the 10th. The idea is to just keep protesting. So the one on the 10th is at the Capitol. And I sent one, if you go to try to sign up, you'll say it's full. That's for going to visit your congressman. But a rally is never, when you a protest movement is never full. There's no such thing as a full protest. So so anyway, I'm probably going to be leaving from Grosvenor at 11:15 on, I think the 10th is Monday. So if anybody wants to join me, let me know. If going to the Capitol on the 10th is one thing you can do. We just need to just speak out. There's
Resist.
resist. Let me just how about a quick comments? Does anybody have any comments about how you're doing and anything that you want to share? You guys aren't shy. I know you're not. My goodness, what is this?
This is Kathy. I would say that not talking about locally, but generally speaking, people feel Democrats are not meeting the moment.
And you know what? I
We're
hear that,
talking about that.
and it's so annoying because, just blame us, like, why don't you join us instead of blaming us? We're doing.
Blaming, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get really frustrated watching TV and seeing all of these Trump commercials. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously he has a lot of money, talking about how he's the best for energy and how he's doing this and how he's doing that. And the Democrats don't have a single commercial ad out talking about all of the lies and the poor direction that we're moving into, it really frustrates me. I wonder what the national level is doing, because these commercials are coming a lot on MSNBC and a lot of other channels, and we just have to counter it. At least that's how I feel strongly about it.
Right.
Area, I saw my first Democratic one tonight, about 6 o'clock on MSNBC.
Okay,
Good.
good.
Maybe
One.
now.
Right.
And
I,
One.
We
still
need
have,
to start putting our commercials on Fox where the opposition will see us, not on MSNBC where only the faithful watch.
yes.
and maybe it's
Mhm.
on. We don't know.
Yeah, half of us cut the cord, so we're probably missing all of the commercials. And, you know,
Right.
we do have a new Democratic Party chair, and hopefully he will be making his way around the country and hopefully setting up some town halls very soon, because 2026 is going to come quickly. So I hope there's a plan in place. I know that when I went to the first Kamala rally before they switched her to the nominee, I was asking the DNC staff, what is our message? What is our tagline? You know, we had hope for Obama, you know, we had, can't remember what Hillary was, but you know, Build Back Better was Biden's. We didn't have anything. It was just trust one. It was just a bunch of hodgepodge messages. And so Democrats, we got to get our messaging right. And I'm hoping that this new guy has
The
a plan.
conversation.
Right. Trip, you had a question or
Yeah,
comment?
it's just the cruelty is astounding. I have one of my good friends whose daughter-in-law got fired. She worked for GSA, got a message at email at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Friday
In the
night saying
morning.
she had been fired and her whole group of 90, and that her computer access was
Wow.
ending at 2 a.m.
Wow.
Well, you know, when people are
Crazy.
sleeping and people then lose their health insurance when they lose their employment.
Yeah.
And somehow we have got to get this message out about the cruelty, and we need to send a message about these congressmen are willing to vote to cut Medicare in order to give tax breaks for billionaires. And that needs to be on every television station, radio station, social media output, naming names, putting phone numbers that say, call your congressman at 202, whatever the number is, and tell them that you're not going to vote for him because look how they voted. We are just pansies.
Trip,
The thing that I've
We
thought
can raise
about
money.
is that
The
somebody
Democrats
ought to
never seem
buy
to have
a
a shortage
couple
of money.
thousand copies of Profiles in Courage and send it to every Republican elected official.
Yeah. No, what we need
They-
to do is get an author to call them and say, I'm publishing a book, Profiles in Cowardice, and we want to cover you in our book, you know.
You know, they all weekend, some of the Republican congressmen were having town halls in their communities. And there were veterans and pissed off constituents who attended those meetings, but they said that they were all fake constituents. They were Democrats disguised as constituents,
Oh, for crying out
infiltrated the
loud.
meetings. And you know, the congressman is shown walking out of his town hall in the middle of the town hall because he was being badgered so badly. So they are getting it from their constituents. But you know, as Andrew mentioned, if I didn't watch the speech, but they are locked in. They are in lockstep worshiping this man like he is the second coming of Jesus. The
My
way they were
understanding is,
applauding everything that he says, no one is going to hold him accountable from his party. And we
my
just
understanding is
don't
they're
have,
afraid of getting doxxed and they're afraid of violence from Proud Boys
yeah,
if they
that's,
cross him, and they're just worried about their own personal safety.
Well,
yeah.
one of the things I saw starting to happen last night, and I caught a little bit of it today, and they need to do more of it, is that they're having people that have been fired on TV with their stories, who they are, how many years they worked for, 20 years, whatever it is, what
Mhm.
significant, because we have to put a face on this. 80%
Yes.
Right,
of government is outside of DC,
right.
all across the country, and they're being
Yeah.
armed bureaus everywhere.
And Europe is too woke. So the
Isn't that crazy?
Republican, yeah. So they want us to be just like Russia. It's really, really scary. And what they want to do is get rid of the middle class. So it's really
Yes.
scary.
Well, they also want
Mhm.
an educated population, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta get off here in a minute, but I just wonder if I can chime in with my 2 cents for 1 second. I think there's so much frustration going around, and there's so much everybody sees how terrible this is and wants to do something, but are really demoralized by all the different things because, even if you do get involved and just, you don't really see a change. It just keeps
Good.
spiraling down and getting worse. And everybody's
Yeah.
kind of looking around like, I'm willing to, invest my time. I'm willing to go to these events, but, we need leadership. We need somebody to say, here's what we're doing and here's the results we're seeing, and some kind of like overall guidance. I think, it's difficult to know what to do and stay invested when you aren't seeing results.
Yep. It's totally scary. So we have
Yes.
to,
Don't lose hope. That's the number one. Conserve
Right.
your energy and don't lose hope. And please follow the links that I shared in the chat. And don't lose hope. We are much stronger together. Don't give
Kathy,
up now.
Kathy, is there something at 9 o'clock with Ken Martin with the DNC chair?
I don't know.
I saw something, but I don't know.
Is Andrew still on? Is he the big D there?
No, he left. So sorry, can't help you. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. We have to, I have to
Yes.
let everybody go. It's getting late. So
All right. Thank you for hosting. Have a great evening, everyone. And please reach out with any questions you may have.
Thanks. Have a
Great
nice
job,
evening.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laurie-Anne.
Have a good evening.